it isn't entirely under our control because we're so used to going out through our senses, our five senses, and then also what's called the sixth sense or the sixth consciousness in Buddhism, which is your mind, right? Your mind goes out. When we go out, I go out through my eyes, I see Dan's shirt. It's got Mount Fuji on it. And that reminds me of something. And then I have like a little tape playing in my head. As soon as I see Mount Fuji, I think of that poem from Isa, famous poem, Isa the haiku poet. He said, "Slowly, slowly, the snail climbs Mount Fuji." I really like that poem. It's a good meditation poem too, because we're all on this long path. Right? Think of a snail, you go really slow, climbing Mount Fuji, great big place. But that landing, my eye consciousness, so to speak, goes out, it lands on Dan's shirt, and it provokes this thing. I personally love Japan, everything Japanese, so I'm liking that. Not necessarily wanting Dan's shirt, although if you want to trade, I'm ready. Just kidding. But I think Japan, oh, that'd be nice, good to go there. I'm wandering out there, right? I'm not in the moment. I'm in some other land. I'm not present. I'm not whole, in other words. I'm not complete. So somehow, and this is the skill of this, we have to allow our sense doors, our senses, including our mind, to be wide open. We're not closing it down, right? In Soto Zen in Japan, they sit facing the wall, right? They turn around and face the wall. Everybody in there face the wall. Because it cuts down your possibility for confusion. This has its value, but here we're going to allow our sense doors to be totally open. But at the same time, we're not going to let them in. It sounds like you're really doing something. It's very subtle. You're not going to let our senses land on objects. Like my hearing is not going to land on the car going by and start to let it drag me someplace. And especially our mind. Mind produces thoughts all the time, but we're not going to grab those thoughts. All right? We're not going to hold them. And then, of course, as soon as you touch something, whether it's with your mind or your senses, then it falls into one of those three categories. I like it. I don't like it. I don't care. And this is like this is samsara. This is like the state of not being free, the state of being dominated by not having something but wanting it, or having something you don't want and trying to get rid of it. Right? You're not on top, so to speak. So somehow you have to learn the trick of being totally open and free without letting the senses land on their objects and start this process of sorting. It's a yoga. It's yoga, right? Normally when we think yoga, we think Tibetan yoga or we think hatha yoga, right? We're doing all kinds of postures. This is like a subtle psychic posturing. It's very subtle, and the better you get at it, the more subtle it gets, until it's totally effortless. Just stay over here, so to speak. That's why it's nice to meditate together, because some of the people here, they know just what I'm talking about. And if you know what I'm talking about, then it's easier for others around you to pick that up too and dig that. It's a certain kind of freedom, not something that we normally have. It is supported by meditating with your eyes open. Not crazy open, but not too chilling. Just normal. It is supported by breathing softly. It is supported by not moving your body. It's especially supported by not moving your eyes too much. When you move your eyes, I see Aunt Anna, and I look at Dan, whole new picture. And I have to readjust, my mind has to readjust to that. And I look at Adam, I have to do it again. Let your eyes just be looking, but not holding. Don't be like a grabber. You know those things they sell in late night television for people who can't bend over well? You squeeze this part and it grabs something like this. You pick up the trash. We just saw someone actually on the street the other day. I saw two people in the last, I don't know, 2 days picking up trash with those things. This is how we normally are. We're grabbing. We stay over here, but our senses go and they grab something they like or something they don't like, and then they make all these thoughts and emotions about it, and you just feel all stirred up, right? There's no peace there.
The trash collector of samsara.
Totally. That is the way we are. We're training in that all the time. All the time. Instead, we're just let be, let go. Not holding. At first, it just didn't feel like anything. It feels just like a gap in your consciousness. You're like, well, how can this possibly be good? As you train more, it becomes full of a kind of special awareness or special, I hesitate to say happiness, but it is a kind of happiness. It's a kind of fulfillment. Right? We could call this kind of meditation the great fulfillment, because you're fulfilled. You don't need anything. You're not trying to get something. You're not trying to squeeze the world to get the juice out for yourself, which is how we normally act. There's something a little bit gross about that. It's kind of like just before something happens. Similar, I guess, you go see a movie, right? And you watch all the previews and stuff. And then the lights go down, but things are going well. And then the movie starts. In that moment, before the movie starts, after the lights go down, there's a sense of, you have a slight anticipation, right? But nothing's happening. It's like that kind of. It has a sense of potential, of possibility. And we like that as people. We like that. It isn't just doing nothing. We're very easily distracted and we're very used to being entertained, even mostly negative entertainment. So it takes a little gumption or something to catch this moment before you fall into your normal patterning. But the good news is it happens every second, every moment you have another opportunity. The Buddha said that in one finger snap, there were 60 individual instances. So you get really 60 chances every finger snap, right? We're normally so distracted, we're so dealing with the past and thoughts are coming together so quickly. There's no gap there, right? That's why sitting still helps, because your mind calms down. When your mind calms down, then the thoughts are a little bit less. There's a little more spaciousness there. And then you can catch the gap, kind of. You're not trying to hold nothing. It's not like about not having thoughts. It's about not getting caught. Let's do this again. Sometimes it really helps in the middle. You can do it when you're meditating at home. Ready? Right arm. In. Left. Out. In. Right. In. Out. And when you find this little gap and you're able to relax there more and more, of course, it's sort of like being out in the surf when the surf is pretty heavy. You can't, if you take a step, you get drifted around by the ocean. It's powerful. You have to learn how to manage that. Maybe it's similar to like balancing something. Like if you're going to balance like a stick on your hand, you don't just hold totally still and immediately whatever you're balancing falls over. You have to catch that, right? So it's a very, very subtle process of becoming totally conscious of this instant right before your senses grab onto whatever it happens to be. Mostly it grabs onto our things in our mind. And then we get dragged away instantly. And then 10 minutes goes by, we're thinking about this and that. So we're learning how to let go of that, not fall into a kind of sleepy, out of it state, not fall into like anxiety or getting caught by anything, just being totally free. Kind of like getting dropped off of your dorm room when you're in your first year of college. Okay, I don't know if this was your experience, but it was mine. My parents drove me, and we had all our stuff, and we had to move it all in. And eventually, time came when they got back in the car and went back to Columbus, and I was there. And all of a sudden, nobody was watching me. I could do anything. It was quite a little bit scary, actually. I was kind of like, wow, there's no eyes on me, so to speak. That can be a little scary, right? Because normally we exist in relationship to everything. But in being that way, we're also dominated by those things, right? We call it Shen Wang. The term for that in Tibetan is Shen Wang, being under the power of other. What we're striving for in the meditation state, so to speak, is wrong wrong, being under our own power, being autonomous. Doesn't mean that we're like, nothing will affect me now. It's not like that at all, right? You can still be totally responsive, but you're not dominated by your own cravings, your own fears, your own plans, no matter how subtle they are, or gross for that matter. So we learn it by letting go, again and again, dropping, letting be, bop, they say in Tibetan, self-dropping, wrong bop. Doesn't last very long. Don't try to make it last. Don't try to hold on to the state of openness, because then you're just making it an object, another thing that you like and you want, right? Can't get distracted. Don't want that, right? It really takes, it's extremely simple, but it's not very easy. It's very simple because you're not doing anything. Letting go. But what you find is you let go, but you immediately are grabbing again. You didn't even notice, right? And you're like, oh, okay, let go. Oh, geez. Kind of like if you make a fist for a long time, they say, okay, relax. You relax, then you look away, and your hand just naturally closes because you're used to it. Well, we've been doing this for thousands of lifetimes. One desirable object, the next desirable object. Over and over and over. But as soon as you touch, it's just like touching an electric fence, like we sometimes talk about. You cannot touch an electric fence lightly enough not to get shocked. Right? I know, because I myself have touched an electric fence. I just couldn't resist. Cowabunga, baby. You just can't touch it lightly enough. At first we're used to it. We're so used to the pain. It is actually suffering. The pain of wanting something, of not wanting what we have, of being distracted all the time. We're so used to it that feels normal. Right? This sense of anxiety is normal. And when it's absent, even for 1 second, it can be like very challenging to handle that. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So we have to get used to it. So be easy on yourself. Very gentle, just a little, for a very short time, because you don't want to mess with it. You don't want to get your mental hands on that. Just let be. And then you notice you're distracted. Here it comes. You were distracted even before. It only lasts a few moments. We'll do exercise because you haven't been here. I don't know if you've done this exercise or not, but we'll try it. It's fun. It's a fun one. So you sit in the regular meditation posture, however that is. I'll show you, and then we'll do it together. You put your hands like this, and I'm going to go, and you're going to shut your eyes. Don't do it yet. And then I'm going to go like this. And when you hear this sound, you're going to put your hands down. It's not a race, and it's not hard. It's just letting your hands come down. As soon as your hands touch your legs, you're going to open your eyes. And even though it's difficult, you're not going to move at all. So it looks like this. You're going to be sitting here, your eyes are closed, and I'm going to go, and you're going to go. What this does is it strips off even the most subtle type of thinking. Not for very long, but briefly. And if you can relax and just not move, then you get a real clear glimpse of how this is. Okay? Did we do this before? Oh, good. Hands like this. I learned it from Indra Rinpoche. Put your hands like this, relax, and just wait. Eyes closed. Online works too. Try it again. Hands like this. Eyes closed. Just relax. Don't do anything. Don't try to meditate. Don't try not to have thoughts. Just be relaxed. Don't worry about anything. Totally open. And just listen for those fingers. And after a little bit, different for different people, then you come back together. You re-arise in relationship to everything else. But for a moment, there's no you. There's just space. There's just the room. There are no thoughts. There are no plans. There's no past. There's no future. All that exists only in relationship to you. Now you're doing it. I can feel it. Just be relaxed. Don't try to sustain it too much. It's not something to hold. You cannot make this state, because as soon as you try to make it, there you are again. You have to let go of us. And be careful, that's not the right term, but do not split part of yourself off and try to look back at the state and see if you're doing it right. You have to be all in. Can't be kind of like checking, because then there's two of you, right? There's this other part of you kind of checking. That's not good. This is dualism. Dualism is inherently painful. Let's try it again. I'll give you an example. Hands like this, totally relax, eyes closed. Just wait, just relax. Everything's good. You're safe. You're safe. Good. You don't want to like check it. You have to have faith. You have to be like all in. Here's an example of being all in. Not this most recent Mission Impossible, but the Mission Impossible before it, okay? Tom Cruise on that motorcycle. Did you see that one? That one was freaking great. And he's like I think he did in Norway. And he proceeds to jump off this cliff, and he's got this parachute, and then he lands on this train. Did you see that movie? Oh my God, you really should see that. That is a really incredible scene. I heard he shot it over and over, like 5 or 6 times. And he really did jump off this freaking cliff. They built something and then CG'd it in there so it just looked like the cliff, but whoa. Now, if Tom is like, I hope I look cool, I'll have to check and see if I'm looking cool, I bet he would not have done quite as well at that, right? I bet you when he's on that motorcycle, he's all in. This is what you have to do. You have to completely be all in your meditation. And when you're all in, you have to totally let go. It's not easy. It's extremely simple. What could be more simple? We're so used to making sure we're cool. Checking. Am I having thoughts? Am I not having thoughts? Am I doing it right? Do I look all right? You really have to be all in. Not in a stressed out way like you would be on the motorcycle, which I would not do, of course. But right in that moment, the Tibetans say it's like a hair pulled out of butter, which is freaking gross. When the hair gets pulled out of butter, there's no butter on the hair.
But you throw the butter away anyway.
No doubt. Actually, the Tibetans, they love butter. I myself hate butter. In fact, I'm a vegan, but even before I was vegan, I'm not a butter guy. In Tibet, they have various forms of butter, right? And there's no refrigeration there. I mean, traditionally, there's no refrigeration. Now, of course, they're like everyone else. They have refrigerators. But one of the last times I was in Tibet, I don't remember what we were eating. I stay with this teacher, my teacher, and they live in a way that's almost indistinguishable from 1,000 years ago. And someone said something, and someone went in this room, and under this bed, I swear, they got out this thing wrapped in cloth, and they unwrapped it, and it was a lump of butter that had turned like blue black. It was so gross. I almost threw up. I was like, oh, and they were like, they cut part of it off and they ate it. Just like, I was like, oh my God. It was really overwhelming. But then you think, like, I like Roquefort cheese, and Roquefort cheese is just as gross, right? It's just as nasty. But when it was butter, man, it was intense. Very intense. You could smell it. As soon as they brought it in there, I was like, I know what that is. That's freaking butter. And they unwrapped from this. Oh my God. They love it. Yeah, it was like, not black, but like a dark blue green kind of. It was really foul. And it stank, man. Whoa. For me, of course, it shows you how different our perceptions are, right? They were like, oh, wow, they're getting the kids. They have several kids. And they were all psyched about the nasty butter. I was like repelled by the butter. Funny. Same butter, different reactions. And it just made me think hair pulled out of butter. This is like that. When you do this, there isn't anything. This state is what you have to recognize. That's the actual meditation state. Normally, meditation, you're holding. You're meditating on your breath. And what are you doing with your mind? You're holding your breath. You're reaching out to your breath and holding it. And you lose it from time to time and you bring it back. This is called shamatha, one-pointed focus. Just breath. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's no different from what we do all day, every day. I'm talking to Adam on the phone. I'm focused on Adam. All right? I am arising in relationship to Adam. And then those three things are in place. I like Adam, so I'm liking him. Right? These three poisons are stressful, anxiety producing, suffering. If you want to be free from suffering, you have to reach the state, you have to touch the moment, just like the hair pulled out of butter. So gross. I love that analogy because it's so gross. I don't like hairs in my food anyway. Who does? When you pull that hair out, there's no butter on the hair. When you open your eyes and don't move, which is hard to do, just for one moment, you do not exist. This is the secret. You have not yet arisen because your senses have not landed on the object to like or dislike or have a relationship to. Is this making sense? This is like super profound and really important. If you know this, you can be free any moment. If you don't know this, then you have to try to arrange the world to make yourself free. You have to get those things you want, at least most of them, and you have to get rid of the things you don't want, at least some of them. And that is impossible to do. It's just like arranging your desk on the Titanic when it's sinking, right? You keep moving the cup, but it keeps sliding down. And we spend our entire lives doing this, thinking, if I can just fill this shirt-shaped hole in my heart, I'll be okay. But there are infinite holes in your heart. See, since we've been doing it and talking about it. Okay. I restarted this so the timer is off. Then it's much easier. See, you can touch it right now, at least a little. You still have thoughts. You can still see. But something is like slightly disconnected. Right? You're not landing as hard. Even a lighter land, so to speak, is a lot nicer. And no landing at all is incredibly blissful. Because what this gets down to is that you are the problem. Right? You. Because in any situation, there you are. With that famous Hindu book, wherever you go, there you are. You're always there. And you bring with you your giant backpack of all your past experiences and your little shames and your worries and your fears. It's a very tough way to hike. Now you have the key to letting go of all that. Is it super simple? Yes. Is it relatively easy? Yes. Does it take practice? Yes. Tremendous training because we are so used to. We have so many bakchaks, so many habits, so many tendencies for grasping. I tell you a story, Tibetan story. There's a master, his name was Bompa Kempo. Kempo means like university professor. He had done all this training. It's like, I don't know, like 12 or 13-year process to become a Kempo. It's like getting a PhD, in philosophy in Tibet. And part of the curriculum is that you have to be a very good meditator. So they're all very advanced. If you meet a Kempo, you know, they're like advanced people. This guy's name was Bompa Kempo. And he was a student of this super advanced master, another Kempo called Kempo Nachong. And to get close to Kempo Nachong, you had to be clever because the guy was huge and it was impossible unless you were a famous Lama to ask questions, or you just couldn't do it. So he became this Kempo Nachong's tea pourer. Tibetans drink tea continuously. They sometimes drink 60 cups of tea in one day. And it all has butter in it too. Ooh, it's rough. I mean, if you think of it as soup, you can do it. But if you think of it as tea, it's rough. And it's nice when it's really cold because it's so high there and you need some energy. Anyway, he became Kempo Nachong's tea pourer. So he was pouring tea for him all the time. And he said what he did was he would go over and when he was pouring the tea, he would whisper a little question like, hey, when I'm meditating, this is what's happening. How should I handle that? And the Kempo was like, oh yeah, just do this. And he did that job for 8 years. He was already a Kempo, right? He's already an advanced practitioner. And he said at the end of that, he hardly had any questions. So he was teaching at a place called Dzogchen Monastery in Tibet. This is Bompa Kempo. And one day he decided he didn't have any classes, so he decided to go up on the mountainside. So he just went for a stroll and he ran into this beggar monk, who was like a beggar, right? Just like didn't have anything. And the monk's like, can I come with you? And he was like, sure. So they're just kind of strolling and talking. And after some time, it's beautiful in that part of Tibet, they just said, the Kempo was like, hey, let's have some soup. And so they sat down and they made a little fire and they got the pot out and they put some water in there and they put some butter in there and they put some sampa in there, which is like a barley flour, right? And they were boiling it up. And they're just kind of sitting there and the soup started to boil over. And Kempo Bompa was like, hey, the soup. And the guy, the monk, turned to him and said, don't worry about the soup. You should be looking into your own mind. And he caught him totally off guard. And he had an experience of just what we're doing, but super big. Like, and he just lost all sense of everything. Just like a total sense of complete spaciousness. Just like the hair pulled out of butter. And right in the middle of that, the monk said, that's it. D-Ray. So this is was like an important moment for him, right? Meanwhile, they rescued the soup, they had their lunch, whatever, and they finished their walk. They walked back to the monastery. And as they got close to the monastery, the monk said, you go ahead, I'll meet you. And so he had to pee or something, right? So Kempo Bompa went down to the monastery, had another cup of tea while he was there, and he went back outside and he looked around, didn't see anyone. And there's nothing around there. He looked in all the directions, walked all around the monastery, didn't see anyone. He's like, oh, that's weird. And he asked someone there, he said, did you see him? They were like, no. He ran into the abbot of the monastery. And he said, did you see this guy? I was with this guy and this funny thing happened. He like almost gave me the pointing out instructions. And he told him, and the abbot of the monastery is like, I know that guy. And he's like, who is it? He goes, that's Vimala Mitra. He's not an ordinary person. Vimala Mitra, meanwhile, this happened in like 1925. But Vimala Mitra lived in the 9th century. But he occasionally appeared like this. And Kempo Bompa was like, whoa. I met someone who wasn't even really a person. So this story, Bompa Kempo told this to my teacher, Tulku Rinpoche. And his point, Kemba Bumpus' point was, at the moment that he did that to me, I got it more than I'd ever gotten it. And he was in his 40s at the time, I think. He was not a young man, and he had been through all this training, had done tons of retreat. He was like a real meditator. He said, I recognized it more clearly than I ever had. But man, has it taken a long time for me to stabilize that. So we can get it, but if we don't train, then we will never really live it. That's why meditation is important. Because you can get this, you get this spaciousness, right? The moment before you arise, whether you get it a little bit or you get it a lot of it, you understand what I'm talking about. It's not hard. Westerners are smart. In fact, Tibetans are also always surprised. You go to Tibet and you meet with people who don't deal with Westerners, right? These lamas. You ask them questions, they're like, wow, you guys are like Kempos. I heard them say it to me. They're like, you guys are like Kempos, like a university professor. You have such good questions. But then after a few days of asking them questions and they realize who you really are, they're like, but you don't practice. We really have to train. We're smart. So now that you know it, you have to come to this moment again and again and again and let it be and be soft and be easy until you change your allegiance. Right now, our allegiance is just to arising in relationship to things all the time. If we want to not do that, if we want to be balancing, like I said, or free in the state before we get involved, we have to train. How do we train? Body, very still. Breathing, very calm. Mind, like the sky, open. Come right to this instant and then let go. It lasts a little bit, then you get distracted. Okay, no problem. Again, you get another opportunity. 60 opportunities every finger snap. As soon as you notice you wandered off, you're thinking about something, you're worrying about something, you're dozing off, whatever, again, come to this moment again. It's that moment right before something happens. Full of possibility, but it hasn't collapsed into anything yet. You haven't put your backpack of all your troubles back on just yet. But you're not used to that, right? We're not used to being free and clean like that. We're more comfortable with all of our troubles and all of our past and all of our bullshit. Excuse my language. So we got to get comfortable. How do we get comfortable? Little by little. Little by little. Now that you know what you're looking for, let's try it again. Put your hands like this. Close your eyes. Just be relaxed. Don't try to meditate. Meditation is not what we're doing here. Ready? Very good. In that state, try to be as relaxed as you can. It's a little bit like learning to fly, maybe, if you're a bird. I'm not a bird, but I'm guessing. Lydia and I, we had a little bird's nest, a little finch nest, just outside the window, inside the awning on the inside. So it was like only this far from the glass. I mentioned it before, I think. And first they built a little nest. It took them a couple days. And then they put like something in there, some downy stuff, was soft. And then the bird was in there more and more. So when it was away one time, I went outside and I took my phone because you couldn't get up there to see. And I took a picture and there were 5 little eggs in there. 5 little teeny eggs. I mean, they must have been, I couldn't tell the proportion, but they must have been super small because the birds were really small. And they were sitting on it for a little while, and we went to Michigan, and when we came back, they were little baby birds. 5 out of 5. I thought it was pretty good. And then I watched them. We were seeing them this was just last week. They were flying, but only flying this high, just right above the nest. They were just doing like this, right? They were just, that's like us, right? That's like us. Except we're not doing anything. Of course, it doesn't last very long. And it seems to take a lot of energy and trying to do nothing. It's kind of weird. But as we get more used to it, just like those birds, all those birds flew away. They all went somewhere.
When?
Just the other day, just a few days ago, right before the snow. I mean, when was that? Just, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago. They just, and now they're flying around the neighborhood, I guess, I assume. Same with us, right? Right now, we're so used to being in that nest, we're kind of comfortable with our suffering, comfortable with our inabilities and our hang-ups and our baloney. Got it that time. Now you know the way, the Dharma, the way. So you're flying your wings a little bit, and you're getting a little space, and you feel it. You feel it, I can tell. But it isn't overnight. Just like Kempo Bomta, it wasn't overnight, right? You had to practice a long time. Even after that, it takes a while to get enlightened. Seeing the truth, not so hard. But living the truth, you gotta work it. Okay, we're good. If you want to ask a question or you want to say something online, you can just write it there, and here you can just say it. It's good to be clear about this, right? To get as clear as we can, because we don't know. Causes and conditions change. We're here together now, but will we be together again? Hard to know. Someone asked a question about Gertrude and Pache. I'm happy to tell that, but you'll have to ask again because I don't know if you're still here. You have to pay attention, all right? We have to use a certain kind of Tibetan, they translate as mindfulness, Drenpa is mindfulness, but it's not exactly mindfulness. It's a kind of like paying attentionness, noticing. You have to notice what is up. Because if you don't notice, then no chance to cut through. You're just completely asleep, right? Completely in your habit patterns. So you have to pay some attention. As you do it more, then the attention gets lighter and lighter. It changes in a certain way. You have to notice when you get distracted. And in that moment of distraction, you have to be like, oh yeah. And again, come to be whole. That's what it's really about. That's what the whole purpose of life is. To get free. And the best support for doing this? Love. A sense of love for yourself, for others. We're not very used to that either. Right? We love to sort people and things into things we can love and things we don't love. We need to have a more open-heartedness, especially toward ourselves. This is hard work, trying to do something new. Not easy. And that love, that's why you think in the beginning, I'm going to do this for everyone. About this vast attitude. Good. Sure. Nobody has a question? Okay. That's okay. Don't train for too long in the beginning. Just a little bit. Because you want to make a habit out of it. Meditation, this type of meditation, just like any other thing is good for you, like yoga or going to the gym. You got to do it a lot. You can't just do it once. If you do it once, is there some value? Probably, but you need to do it regularly. You're building a new habit, a habit of having no habits. That's not so easy. So keep it short. And, secret key point, try to end when you're still feeling good. So you sit down and you're like, okay, I got 10 minutes. After 8 minutes, you're like, I'm really doing this. That's the time to quit. Don't wait till you're like, and you're like, this friggin' sucks. And then you don't want to come back to it, right? So catch yourself when you're in the middle of it going well, and then stop. And then the next day, you're like, I'm looking forward to this. We'll do it again a little bit. Well, if there's no one else to say anything, then we can stop there. Oh, there that is. Well, we'll just have to, there's a prayer that we say at the end, but the main thing is just to think whatever goodness has been created here, may everyone share in it. At the end of your practice sessions, just like there's the beginning part, you think, I'm lucky, this is good, I'm glad I get to do this, give rise to joy, I'm going to do it for everyone. That's the orientation. Then the main part is not to do anything. And then at the end, it creates a lot of goodness, positivity, good karma, merit to do that, to be spacious like that. So at the end, you put your hands like this and you think, may all beings enjoy this freedom. So first we'll meditate just a second. Just let be in your spacious openness of this moment. By this merit may all attain omniscience, having defeated the enemy, wrongdoing, from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. From the ocean of samsara may I free all beings. Good. Thanks for being here. Keep going. Thanks for coming back. Good to see you guys online. Sorry for I don't know what happened there where we had to stop and start again, but see you next week. Be well.